Young Munster's team line out as follows. As we said, kickoff is at 4:45. David Begley, Dan Walsh and Conor Bartley make up the front row. Tom Goggin and Eoin O'Connor in the engine room with Captain Alan Kennedy at 6. Ronan O'Sullivan at open side, and Bailey Faloon completes the back row at number 8. Jack Lyons and Evan Cusack line out as half backs. Conor Phillips, Conor Hayes and Shay McCarthy the back three, with a certain Dan Goggin and Fionn Gibbons in the centre. The bench lines out with Chris Moore, George Jacobs, Paulo, Leleisiuao, Sean Rigney, Donnchadh, Callum and Harry Fleming. Terenure College line out as follows: Marcus Hannon, Sean McNulty and Adam Chute in the front row. Captain Harrison Brewer packs down with Mick Melia in the second row. Adam Melia is the second member of the Melia family, with Luke Clohessy and Conor Boomer, who's in fine form, in the back row. Alan Bennie and the in-form Callum Smith make up the half-backs. Craig Adams, Stephen O'Neill and Adam Grue the back three, with Caolan, Dooley and Colm de Buitléar in the centre for Terenure. John McKee, Andrew Keating, Mike Murphy, Jordan Coughlin, James Thornton and Sam Coughlin Murray make up the replacements for Terenure College. Gets ready to get us underway underneath the Limerick sky, near perfect conditions here in Greenfields. The ball is well taken by Mick Melia from the night sky. Alan Bennie at half-back hits his 10, and Terenure intent on playing here. To Buitléar on the ball, and Brewer with a lovely little line. Ball doesn't go to hand. Conor Boomer got his debut for Leinster. It was joked during the week that Leo Cullen gave him a start before Sean Skehan.
That was no accident for us. That was a pre-planned that they were going to run that.
Brewer again. Smith calls for it. Carry back into the 22. The ball will remain in play, in the first opportunity for Conor Hayes here. Hits his full back, Shay McCarthy. He's got Conor Phillips on his outside if he likes to use them, but McCarthy decides to have a go.
Yeah, it's a super carry from Shay McCarthy, and that's the thing, he can move fast and he can also carry ball heavy into contact. He's done really well there to make a few yards. Dan
Walsh with his low centre of gravity eking the yards, and Cusack slightly skewed high in the night sky, comes down, and it's well gathered by the Buitléar of Terenure, who's been excellent all season. Knock on advantage, says Kieran Barry, and Melia moves it to Smith, the former Malone man. Elusive, but it's a knock on, and we will come back for the scrum. To his half-back Bennie.
Conor Phillips is going to have to be sharp here, because it looks as though Terenure are going to swing that way and attack his channel.
Channel 1 in the scrum. Bennie
rock solid scrum
straight
again
to Dooley, out the back to Smith. It's Grue, a little dink in behind. The ball is bouncing, it's there, and Terenure, they're in. Terenure have scored a wonderful try through Craig Adams. There's a bit of consultation between Kieran Barry. Very difficult from our commentary position to be able to see this.
That's the only part of the pitch we can't properly see.
But the try is awarded by Kieran Barry, and Terenure 8 from 8. Ger Burke, that was their first attack and lethal to score in the corner. In Limerick, Cusack sizes up the post. Lovely strike from Cusack, and the flags go up, and the score here in Greenfields, Terenure College lead by 5 points to 3. An absorbing contest so far, Dan Mooney.
Yeah, but Berkey called it before the game started. This one is always going to be one for the purists. We're not going to see a whole lot of tear loose rugby. We're going to see tight. We're going to see packs going at each other, and it's going to be close. It's going to be grim apart.
Met very well by Jack Lyons. Ball again to Smith. As we said, Terenure will look to get to width on this. In the hands of the Buitléar rather. Met by Evan O'Gorman, cleared by Grue. Boomer, good footwork, but he's met by Young Munster's replacement, Chris Moore. But it's a great line there. Adams on the move. He's got around McCarthy. Adams, Conor Hayes looks to bring him down. He's 3 metres short of the line here. Terenure with an opportunity. Quick ball is going to be needed. Brewer forks it out. Cusack, Grue, and they've moved it out, and it's going to be a try here for Terenure College. I think it's Luke Clohessy there on the other side, but Terenure devastating on turnover ball there. An error from the Young Munsters line out, Ger Burke and Terenure with their second try of the afternoon.
It's that simple. We just spoke both sides not making mistakes. Very, very sloppy lineup from Munsters. Very uncharacteristic, and they're paid dearly. Lovely play from Alan Bennie. He bounces to the second defender. He draws in. Third defender is marking a man. Winger comes soft off his shoulder. Gorgeous piece of play. Something they would have worked on during the week, and just again, once they get in behind you, so difficult to stop. All players comfortable, hands on the ball, and kind of inevitable that they were going to go over.
Dan Walsh has moved into the back row. The ball goes to the tail, and Moore again misses his man McNulty to Smith, and Smith, whether that's going to be the half time, it is half time, and Terenure College lead Young Munsters 12 points to 3. Dan Mooney, a stop-start first half, but intriguing nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it's been highly entertaining to watch if this is your type of rugby, and for me it is. I like seeing these battles. I like seeing the kind of scrapping over half a yard just to make that half a yard, and both teams full-blooded, willing to go at each other for the sake of holding on to the ball and keeping possession a little bit longer. So it's been intriguing to watch. The fun part, if you like to call it that, in terms of watching rugby, is a team like Terenure, the likes of Adams and Grue, players who can, when they see a gap, just go at it. Whenever they can look up, see where the space is, see where the mismatches are, and attack that absolutely ruthlessly. There's a reason they're top of the division. It's just the quality they have and their ability to play that heads-up rugby when demanded, because the rest of the game they're going to spend beating you up in the pack, but when they need to, they can go to that heads-up stuff and score tries. We
will have some first half highlights as they play over Joe Burke. Interestingly, as we mentioned in first half, you rightly called Alan Kennedy, the captain, went off, which saw Dan Walsh, who started at hooker, move into the back row. Talk to us a little bit about how they're going to have to rejig the line out, and particularly with Chris Moore on darts not finding his men.
Yeah, that's definitely two, if not the last three lineouts you must have overthrown at the back. I don't know if we're going to have to change and take the front there. Like, it's just Dan, me and you were coming here to probably 70 years of watching games between the two of us. Munster's not winning their own line out in Greenfields is just unacceptable. It's our bread and butter, and it's you're only going to get a limited number of opportunities against Terenure, and if you're going to give away that much possession, you're not going to get anywhere near them.
Dan Mooney, as we see the replays of the first half come over us, it's been very noticeable that Terenure, when given the opportunity, and the 22 of Young Munsters have taken their opportunities. In saying that, Young Munster haven't had the possession in the 22, but you still have hope that if they do get into those positions, as long as they can look after the set pieces, Berkey says that they're still a minute of chance. Yeah, I mean, Terenure have phenomenal defence. They haven't had to use it a whole lot inside their own 22, but Young Munster have the threat. They have the ability. They have players to get at it. Shay, McCarthy, Conor, Phillips, Conor Hayes. These are all very fast players. They're players who can move quickly, who can exploit space themselves. That they need to be utilised. In order to utilise them, you have to have the territory. Don't have the territory, you don't get to use it. The clock is also, you've got a man advantage here. You kick for the corner, or you kick down the line, you get your line out, you don't hit your own man. Yeah. You've lost about a minute and a half of a sin bin clock just to lose 20 yards or 30 yards.
Under fatigue as well, I think your Munsters have probably gone back to route one a little bit, just kind of one-dimensional, and they need to ask more questions of Terenure. With
the first half completed, Dan Mooney, in terms of what Young Munsters need to do better in the second half, is it fair to say that discipline has been an issue for both sides? Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of surprised at Terenure's discipline, to be quite honest about it. It hasn't been great. Young Munster hasn't either. There've been rushed decisions, and there's been some stuff that was kind of not thinking, not putting your teammates first, and as a result of that, it's cost both teams. But the penalty count is 7-3. Young Munster have had 7 penalties. Terenure have only had 3. So the discipline Terenure have shown has been quite poor in the cost, whereas Young Munster's decision making, rather than their discipline, the decision making has been poor, and the result of that poor decision making has been 12 points. Jack Lyons moves Young Munsters to within 6 metres of the Terenure College line, 12 points to 3 here after 43 minutes in Greenfields. The second half has started at a frantic pace. It will be interesting to see if Chris Moore can find his target, and if Young Munster can turn this 22 opportunity into a score. Goggin with the take. Young Munsters set them all here as the cries of heave from the Young Munster faithful in Greenfields. It is at the back. Terenure doing well to defend that. Kieran Barry says use it once. Lyons moves the ball Dan Goggin hits his centre partner Gibbons, and Goggin decides to pick and go again and gains a couple of yards as young Munster load on the right hand side. O'Connor with a good carry. He's met with two latchers and young Munsters making yards as Ronan O'Sullivan carries hard. Terenure shifting to defend to the left hand side. Lyons hits O'Connor. He's hit hard by Coughlin but rides the tackle. Young Munsters looking to go around the corner as head coach Gar Prendergast says same again. Terenure doing well to slow the ball, but young Munsters eking forward with carries again. They're going to have to be very careful to look after the ball as Terenure are looking to get over it on the breakdown. It slows down. Ball is in the hands of O'Sullivan. And it's a score for young Munsters. On the right hand side, we spoke about how important it was to get the next score, Dan Mooney, and it is Conor Hayes. Dan Walsh is getting the congratulations rather from Conor Hayes.
Well, there's a reason Gerard Prendergast is saying go again, same again. They've looked at this and they've said we can do this in the short range, 5 metres out. We have the carriers to do it. We have the energy to do it. They've seen something in the Terenure defence that makes Gerard Prendergast believe they have an edge here 5 metres out. He's telling them to go again with good reason. Young Munster do very, very well. And considering the start to the second half, penalty conceded and going all the way down 5 metres from the run line, to come up the other end and get a score is massive.
Or to concede 3, should I say.
Relentless pressure from Terenure has yielded a penalty, which gives Dooley an opportunity to make amends.
Again, though, Foz, it's all coming from a poor set piece from your Munsters.
Dooley, right-legged, lands the penalty, and Terenure College stretched their lead to 15 points to 10, and a period of concerted pressure, Dan Mooney, for Terenure College, but young Munsters will know any opportunity they get in the Terenure half, they're really going to have to take it. Terenure decide to challenge.
I have to commend both teams on putting themselves in positions that the commentary position cannot see at all times in this game.
The crowd will let us know if they score.
It's taken by Goggin on this right hand side. Terenure initially fight off the young Munsters onslaught. Referee Barry says that's the first use. It's 15 points to 10 as Jacobs with the carry and Goggin with the carry. Terenure look to have gone off their feet in that ruck, but Kieran Barry says that's fine. The ball is at the base as young Munsters make another carry here. They're going to be keeping it tight. Terenure looked for a turnover, but Kieran Barry is given a penalty and they go quickly through Dan Walsh, and has Walsh gotten down, it's another hand out the back from Kieran Barry as young Munsters here are agonisingly close. The ball is with Tom Goggin at the base of the ruck. There is space on the outside. Leleisiuao isn't used. The hand is still out from Kieran Barry. Ronan O'Sullivan has the ball in his hand. Very difficult to see on both sides here, but patience are needed. It's a big carry there from young Munsters, and it's a great score from George Jacobs, the sub front rower who is there.
So Dan Mooney, you take the 3, do you know?
Unbelievable from young Munsters. We spoke about Ger Burke, about Terenure having an opportunity in the 22 down in young Munsters half, but young Munsters taking their chances when they arise. He moves Terenure back into their own 22 as Maher throws. Rigney with the take, 4 3/4 metres over the 5 metre line. The Munster maul is set as Terenure pushed them towards the touchline. Lyons has Dan Goggin on his outside. They've got Evan Cusack and Harry Fleming. Lyons foraging for the ball in this maul, and he has it, and it's in hands of Goggin, and Goggin elects for a crossfield kick. It's a lovely little kick, and it's going to be taken by Hayes, and Hayes is on the inside and he throws it, and it's going to be McCarthy, and McCarthy, he's in. Is McCarthy in? The try is given. Yes! A wonderful try by McCarthy. Unbelievable play from young Munsters here. Dan Goggin with a fantastic crossfield kick that nobody was expecting, well claimed by Conor Hayes, and McCarthy with an outstanding finish for young Munsters.
Absolutely incredible piece of play there. When Dan went to drop it to kick the ball, I was kind of screaming no, but absolutely exquisite play, rugby.
Dooley lines up the penalty here. Dan Walsh being patched up. Messages coming through on both sides. It's been an absorbing, intriguing encounter thus far as Dooley makes no mistake. And an air of hush as well as fog descends on young Munsters as we're back to a 1-score game here.
No matter what happens now, it's been a feast and outstanding. and this is still a continuation of its chess. No mistake, and that's it. Game over.
O'Callaghan with a lovely little snipe, and he dinks the ball in behind, and it's going to be a line out to Terenure. And we're entering last roll of the dice time for Terenure College as we hear whistles from the young Munsters crowd who want to get into 80s night afterwards, Stuart Burke.
Yeah, looking forward to that, Frauds. I have a pair of stilettos upstairs for you. Can't see what's going on over there. A bit of handbags, it would seem.
Terenure College will have the line out. McKee goes into his line out. Marshall Melia, so experienced in this area. As we said, Terenure College managed to get a 23 points to 21 victory over Trinity last week in Lakelands. Unbeaten 8 from 8. They will remain top at Christmas, but Cookies on course for a scalp here. Taken by Melia. Thornton hits Coughlin. Coughlin with a great carry, gets in between O'Sullivan and Walsh, and Bennie switches it up to Clohessy, back to Bennie again. Bennie moves it over to Buitléar. It's been incredibly impressive when he's got the ball in his hands. And Kieran Barry has given a penalty. This is not over yet, and Dooley, forcing the issue here, is going to kick long.
The instruction is very clear from the Munster sideline: leave the rucks alone, try not to give away penalties. There's some nice power plays been put together by Terenure here. Great execution under pressure, and a nervy finish.
And Dooley,
and Munsters have kept that one in.
He's kept it in.
Has not found touch on that side.
That's a huge moment, and that could be the game.
The ball is still in play. Faloon with a massive carry. Young Munsters bench, hands and bated breath holding here, trying to eke down the clock here.
We can assume there's only seconds left in the way the Cookies are playing here.
Terenure looking for a turnover, and they've got it. Kieran Barry has given it, saying holding on, and Terenure will get another opportunity. Dooley, with a rare uncharacteristic miss of touch, will look to just put this into touch, and you get the feeling we might be in the last couple of minutes, but this is by no means over.
Christ. If you're going to play like that and just play off 9 to try and keep possession, to keep the ball, you have to be incredibly disciplined, not to go off feet, not to pre-latch, and to work hard on the floor. Poor from your Munsters.
My compliments to anyone watching at home who's able to actually see what's going on through all the fog. It's so hard to ascertain from where we are, but it's been enthralling from start to finish. It's been tactical, intriguing game of chess, shadow boxing at times, and there's been some great rugby played in the middle of it all, and it's coming down to the wire. And what more do you want out of a game?
It's going to be a huge finish. I put my house in the fact that Terenure are going to maul this, and you Munsters have to deal with it. Firstly, try and get pressure in the air, but in fairness, the last couple of throws from Terenure have been absolutely immaculate.
They have been on the money, as there is treatment being given out. Eoin O'Connor will return to the game. Forwards coach is Ger Slattery, and Mikey Madden with some words of wisdom to try and disrupt that. But Berkey, we know that Terenure will need a try to get a draw or a win out of this. He's actually...
Has he given the penalty to Munsters? He's turned it over?
Yeah. He's turned over the penalty.
You only know that because of the crowd. I have absolutely no idea what has happened or what has occurred. But the Munsters crowd are very happy. And that's the game. Yeah. Outstanding. It's all over here. That's a huge result for the Munsters.
Greenfields, Terenure College beaten 23 points to 18 by young Munsters. Dan Mooney, and the fog did come down in the second half, but what a game we have had.